Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I'm a voice teacher. Today I will be reacting to and analyzing REM performing Losing My Religion.
Oh, life is bigger. It's bigger. You are not me. The things that I will go to, the distance in your eyes.
So a lot of people might say that he doesn't have enough support because you can hear a little bit of a waver in his voice sometimes. I think it's great. I think he's one of the best rock singers of all time. I like REM. I really like REM. I think Michael Stipe is really great. At the very beginning with the oh, he kind of emphasized the second vowel of a diphthong. So a diphthong is when two vowels are right next to each other, like O. Even in an American O, you say O and U, where in Italian, you don't have that. You don't have that O. It's always just O or O. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's right. But with this, with like an English O, it goes from the O to the U. He brings out the second one, where in a lot of music, people try to bring out the first one more often. But that just gives it a little bit of a different flavor. Just going, oh, life.
Oh no, said too much. I set it up.
He doesn't go, said enough. That's the thing that a lot of people tend to do when they're saying the word enough. When they see it written out, they see the E, and then they say E, and then they say enough. And that's not how you say it. Enough. At least not how I say it. It's not how most people that I know say it. So I do think that getting your singing closer to how you would say the word for speech generally fixes a lot of problems, and it also helps with understandability. So just make sure that when you're working on your own music that you're actually saying the word how it should be said, unless you need to modify it so that it works for a different part of your voice. But enough, like, I just hate that. Never enough, never enough.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. Trying to keep.
On that trying, he does a little bit of kind of a yodel into it. I'm trying to keep, which is a really common thing with more country music. I think it works really well. It makes it sound interesting. Trying to keep.
I you, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, said too much. I haven't said enough.
I also love just how he's got his whole body involved this whole time. He's so open, and there's something to just how you hold your body that affects how you how you are mentally. And I think that being open like he is with all of this, it just puts him into a slightly more vulnerable state. Plus, it's just more interesting to watch than just hands right down all the way through. He's grooving to the music. He's really in what he's doing.
I thought that I heard you.
There's another one of those yodels.
I thought that I heard you sing.
It's a really common thing with him.
I think I thought I saw you try.
On try, it's the same sort of thing. We have the ah into the E diphthong. He doesn't, I think I thought I saw you try, and make it really quick at the end, as I actually suggest that for a lot of people, unless you're like doing it for a reason. But when I give that note to most people, they don't recognize that they are going try, and sometimes it's overclosing and it just doesn't sound good. With Mike Stipe, I think that he's doing it all on purpose. Like, he knows the sounds that he's wanting to make, and I think he'd be able to do it in another way. That's the real key with all of this, is everything that you can do, you can still do these things. What I, as a voice teacher, want to do is help people make the sounds more repeatable and more intentional. If it's repeatable and intentional, then the work you do with a voice teacher is just to try to make that even easier, or to find other ways of producing sounds that might just broaden the kinds of sounds that you can make so that you can tell stories in slightly different ways. But that's another thing that is kind of interesting with him, is he's bringing out that second vowel of the diphthong more often than a lot of singers do. He's bringing in that little yodely sound. So if you're doing an REM cover band, maybe look into doing some of those things with your voice.
Every whisper, every waking hour, I'm choosing my confessions. Trying to keep eye on you.
On that U, he doesn't go an eye on you, and where it kind of pulls back into that U. He has a little bit more of this you, where it kind of diphthongs into the oo, but his tongue is so forward, so it's you.
Like a bird lost and wounded bull. Oh no, said too much.
He also kind of goes said, where he kind of smiles into it, but it's not so much movement. It's not said too much that it really pops out of the texture for me. If it was, I'd probably say, okay, it seems like you need to get a little bit more space there. What would happen if you just kind of relaxed into that space? But it's a C. Like, you don't need to open your mouth that much on a middle C.
I set it out. Consider this. Consider this. The hint of the century. Consider this.
Yeah, on that consider, he's put that same sort of yodely thing on every single one of them.
Now I've said too much. I thought that I heard you laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try.
That time it was still the same C, but he was going into that more dropped round and down position that I talk about a lot in my videos. That, oh, you try. I think I thought I saw you try. But he also doesn't have everything super round all the time, obviously, as I've just said. That is one of the things that gives him this characteristic brightness to his voice, because if he put everything in here, it would start rounding out the sound a little bit more, and maybe that's just not what he wants as much. But I also don't think he's thinking about it too much, and I don't think that he needs to. I think that these great singers, they're great because they're not micromanaging all these things. They know that they have them as options, but it's coming from a different place. It's coming from a place of communication, not from like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this, and then it's going to sound good. And some of them, like me, I'm a pretty good singer, but I haven't always been as good as I am now, and I am not as good now as I will be next year, because I'm still willing to put in the time to like make these little adjustments and have my teacher tell me, no, that's actually not working. And so when I'm in this room practicing, I will work on those things and I'll think about it and I'll do it until it just becomes a little bit more muscle memory. But with him, like, he's just relying on that muscle memory. He's not micromanaging these things. And if you start doing that in a performance setting, you're going to wreck your performance.
That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion, trying to keep up with you, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I've said too much.
Yeah, it's more likely that he's going to go into the said too much, which has this little extra compression or press on it. But because it's not high, like, he's able to get away with that. You get so much more room for error when you're below your bridges, that you can just kind of play around with the colors and it won't affect too much. The thing to watch out for is if you're starting to go toward higher notes and you're approaching it like this, those shapes stop working as well. So if I'm going like actually, that worked fairly well, but it still started feeling really tight, where if I was to just start dropping it a little bit more, that doesn't feel as tight for me. And so I know that if I'm going to be approaching those high notes, I need to change kind of how I do those vowels if it's going to feel successful and I'm going to be able to repeat it over and over. But for a C, like, it doesn't matter. You have so much room.
I thought that I heard you laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. That was just a dream. Try, cry, lie.
Everything that he is doing, though, is so minimal in terms of like his mouth movement. He's not going from really extreme positions, to everything is just kind of like a ventriloquist. And that's a term that one of my teachers, Dean Kalin, uses all the time, is ventriloquist voice. And if you have a chance to take a lesson with Dean before he retires, I highly suggest it. If you don't, like, go check out his book. It's on his website. Just search Dean Kalin, Teaching Good Singing. It's like the foundational text for me in terms of how I teach and everything. But that idea of just a ventriloquist voice where your mouth is kind of opening up and down, but you're not really doing anything super extreme or thinking about singing being the art of minimal movement. I think that he's doing a really good job with that. There's nothing that he's doing that seems like he's chasing the pitch with his mouth. And every time that we can get away from that, it makes singing a lot more simple and easy.
Try, that was just a dream, just a dream, just a dream.
I love that. Yeah, his arms were out this whole time. It was really fun. And that feels really good. There are some people that find that getting your arms, like that weight off of your chest, helps you feel some expansion. I don't think he's thinking about that, but it does definitely feel more free. And there's this idea of using gestures in order to tap into deeper psychological things. So I think it's Chekhov's psychological gestures. And so if you say something while doing a gesture, you will kind of be influenced by that gesture, and you're able to use your body to make you feel things psychologically. And I think that's one thing that definitely happens with dances. As soon as you start getting involved with movement, it just influences your ability to express yourself authentically, and I think in a really good way. So I love to see that. It's an easy song. Like, this is actually a really good song for people who might not feel like the strongest singers or who have the widest range, because it doesn't go super high, but it's really fun. There's a lot of interesting style work that you can do on it, and I think that needs to get a little bit more respect from people, because people so often talk about good singing as just being able to sing higher and sing louder and sing longer, and that's just not the case. Like, it's just absolutely not the case. And I don't know what Mike Stipe says that his voice type is, or if he's ever been typed. He doesn't usually sing like super, super high from what I know, but he's really sure of himself and who he is as an artist, and he sounds really good in everything that I've seen. So I think he's a really great performer and a great songwriter. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and ring the bell if you want to get any of my videos delivered right when they are done. Fresh out the oven, a brand new video delivered straight to your inbox. Go check out the links in the description. There's a link to my Patreon and my Discord, which is an amazing, amazing place. And if you want to go ask me questions, I highly suggest going there to do it. Thank you.